anything, and it was disrespectful for PG to put himself on LeBron and AD's level. So, Shannon, is Dudley's criticism of Paul George inbounds or out of bounds here?
I think what a lot of people took issue with, Skip, this all happened when Dame missed that free throw. And you see Pat Bev, that's kind of Pat Bev, you know, making his little antic. I thought it was Dame time, and all of a sudden, you see PG in that mix, and you think, now, hold on, PG. That's not your MO. We've never seen you do that. We never saw this at Indy. We never saw this at OKC. And now this is it. Now, Skip, I'm not saying Paul George shouldn't view himself in this way. But I think players in the league look at Paul George and he's viewing himself like he's LeBron, like he's KD, like he's Steph, like he's Kawhi, like he's Giannis. Those guys have either won regular season MVPs or finals MVPs. They're like, hold on, PG. Bro, I understand. You're a very talented player, but there's tiers, there's levels to this. And these guys that I just mentioned, they're top shelf. You're not on that shelf. So stop thinking you should be on that shelf. So people took issue to that. If you look at it this year, Devin Booker, say, they set your soft you-know-what down. Now, we understand that Seth Curry has an issue with him. We know what that's about. So we don't need to get into that. But, you know, people look at Paul, the way Paul views himself and the way players around the league view Paul is totally different. Paul George is off to an unbelievable start in the 2020-2021 season, Skip. He's playing phenomenal. But none of that matters because we've seen Paul George play great in the regular season. He didn't call himself regular season P. He called himself playoff P. So when you give yourself a name like that, Skip, you better come big come playoff time. Now, he's won one playoff series since that finals 2014 against LeBron and the Heat. He's won one. Now, what, Skip, if I'm not mistaken, aren't we in 2021? 2021, where we are. And he won that one last year against the Dallas Mavericks. So Paul George is, and that's the thing I love about sports, Skip, because you get to update that resume. Now, Paul, and I'm tired of everybody beating up on Paul George, too. Let the man have a break. He didn't perform well. He hasn't performed well in the playoffs, especially in OKC. Skip, that what he did to Russ after being, finishing third in the MVP, and then that game against Utah, and Russ asked him in the locker room, say, Paul, what you got for me? And he said, I got a strong spade hand. I got 5 on me. Gave him 5 points on 2 of it. That can't happen again. So I'm going to give him a break. And Skip, this is a book. So this book was written a long time ago. It's just coming out now, Skip. You know how it is. So you get that delayed reaction. Yep. He probably said this, the bubble was, in June? So he probably started writing this, probably finished it up in July, August. Probably. And here we are just getting it now.
Well, so it's a grand total of 42 pages, so I don't think it took too long.
So in other words, he might have finished that up. He was working on that in the bubble.
He was I think they were doing it diary style. Right. So he was, yes, they were sort of writing it on the fly.
So, look, PG is off to a great start. The only way PG is going to stop all this commentary about his play is to bust butt come playoff time. And if he does that, he'll shut these people's mouths up.
Well, don't look now, but he's busting butt right here, right now. I know it's still early in the regular season, but he's doing it.
He's doing it. But Skip, Skip, you remember now at OKC, he finished third in the MVP voting. And then what he do? He go to Utah and give you 5, a strong spade hand. That's all he had for you.
I will remind you, I know it was a while back, and it was very, very early because it was opening night. But he's on a mission because that first game against your Lakers, he dropped 33 on you, and he hit 5 threes in that game. But in the second half, he just went off on you.
He went crazy.
26 points in the second half. 4 out of 5 from 3 just in the second half, and it turned the game around. It was all Paul George.
Yes.
And last night, I believe he was responding directly to Jared Dudley. He made 8 out of 9 threes. Not easy to do.
No.
Make 8 out of 9. He was crazy, go to the moon hot.
He was.
And again, it was just Cleveland, but it was a back-to-back. After they played what I think was an NBA Finals preview against, obviously, the Nets at Brooklyn.
I mean, Skip, you say just Cleveland, but Cleveland's tough. They play hard. They got those 2 little guards.
Everybody, they will not quit on you. Okay, now back to Jared Dudley. I'm going to try to walk softly on this because I know Jared pretty well. And I like Jared a lot. He's a good man with a big heart. That's why he's still on the Lakers, because he's one of the nicest guys in professional basketball, and he's found a home in LeBron's locker room because LeBron likes him, because he's fun to have around. Right. He's always upbeat, in a good mood. He's always got a smile on his face, and he's got something funny to say, you know, lively to say. I think
LeBron said every championship team needs a guy like Jared Dudley in the locker room.
He has become, to me, the Lakers' mascot. That's what it is. And I know that's very derisive and dismissive, but that's the role that he plays, because I
was thinking Udonis Haslem of Miami Heat.
All right, okay, but he wrote a 42-page book after he played 31 total minutes in 21 playoff games. Well, he barely got in just like the mop-up. He was like mopping up for the mop-up, right? You know, he comes after the janitor, right?
I thought you was going to tread lightly.
Okay,
that ain't tread
lightly. So my response last night was, I thought of the response that Ben Simmons had to Jared Dudley a couple of years ago when Jared, you know, he criticized. I'm not saying he called him out, but remember after Game 1, they stole Game 1 against the Sixers in the playoffs when he was then on the Nets, obviously. And his quote was about Ben Simmons, that he's a great player in transition, but once you slow him up in the half court, I think he's average.
Did he lie? Did he lie, Skip?
Well, Ben Simmons didn't take it very well, because he came out and laid a triple-double on him in Game 2, and then in Game 3 he went for 31 without Embiid playing. Remember that? And that was the first game back in Brooklyn. Right. Okay? So do you remember the classic response from Ben Simmons, which I'm about to echo, when he was asked about what Jared Dudley said to him? Can you see it, please?
Jared Dudley comments about you yesterday. He says, yeah, you're a great player in the open court, average in the half court. What do you think of that?
It's coming from Jared Dudley.
It's coming from Jared Dudley. Come on. That's it. It's coming from Jared Dudley. What did Ty Lue say before the game last night? He said, a book? Jared Dudley? Huh? Okay, so that's my response, too. It's coming from Jared Dudley. Come on. I know you have to say something controversial to help push the book a little bit. Right. And this is semi-controversial, but look, I don't want to kill the messenger here. Right. But I am going to, I'm going to disqualify him. I'm going to dismiss him, because it is Jared. And he has hung on for a long time in this league, many of the years as a good 3-and-D player, because he was the ACC Player of the Year coming out of Boston College. Yes. And he was the 22nd overall pick in the draft by, guess who? Michael Jordan. Yeah. Another one of those. And he's bounced around this league to 7 different franchises, and this is his 14th year. That's pretty good. Yeah. Do you realize Jared Dudley has now made $61.3 million playing this game? Okay, that'll work. Yeah. Okay, it's a good living, man. Nice little living. Okay, so he might jeopardize it a little bit with this, but he's going to be the hero of the locker room, because the Lakers are going to love this. We're glad you said that.
He'll end up coaching somewhere. I think the thing is,
he does want to be a coach or a GM. Yeah. He might be a GM.
Skip, I just think the thing is that Jared Dudley said what a lot of players around the league think. Okay. Is that Paul George views himself on that top tier. The guys that have won Finals MVP. Skip, when Russ went to Houston, he viewed himself as an equal. He said, well, James, you haven't won anything. I haven't won anything. I got an MVP. You got an MVP. I see ourselves as equal. Paul George, like, he sees himself as an equal to Kawhi. Kawhi has 2 Defensive Player of the Year, 2 Finals MVP. Yep. KD has Finals MVP, regular season. Steph has regular season. LeBron has both. Giannis has MVPs. And guys are looking at him like, bro, you carrying yourself like them without the baggage, without what they have.
Okay. So what have I sometimes called Paul George in the postseason? George Paul. Right. Because he turns into George Paul, because he's not an alpha male. Right. He's not the leader. He's not the takeover guy. He's not a superstar, but he is a star. Yeah. Because, listen, 6'8", 6-time All-Star, and 4-time All-Defense, that'll work, man.
Yeah, he's feathery smooth. He can shoot the 3. He can get the mid-range. He can get the. He still got ups. Even after that broken ankle, I think he broke his ankle, broke his leg. Skip, he's come back. He seems to me, he looks better now than he did before he broke his leg. Okay. So we're not diminishing the man's skills. I'm just saying, Skip, you know how you build your name in this. You want to be a legend, you got to play good in the playoffs. Okay. Magic Johnson and Bird and Jordan and LeBron and Kobe, Shaq, all those guys, they made their name. Kevin Durant made his name in the postseason.
Sure.
When he went to Golden State doing that, that's how you make your name.
That's how you do it.
So, Paul George, if you want to be thought of as those guys, like those guys,
I agree.
You're going to have to play in big moments in the playoff games like those guys.
He has led this league in steals.
Yes.
He has been in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. He has been in the conversation for MVP.
Yeah, he finished third.
Okay?
That's his last year in the OKC.
And he's on the fringe of the conversation this year because he's had some big games.
Yes.
He's playing even better than Kawhi is right now overall.
Yes.
By the way, quick aside on Kawhi, he played another back-to-back last night because he's on a mission to prove everyone wrong. So he's committed this year.
He had no choice. Because I can assure you this is what we know. Had they won the title last year, Kawhi Leonard would not be playing because it would have been justified.
I'll buy that.
It would have been justified that he can take these back-to-backs.
He has a big something to prove right now.
And Ty Lue is saying, bruh, we kind of need you.
We got to do this.
In the regular season. He didn't call himself regular season P. He called himself playoff P. So when you give yourself a name like that, Skip, you better come big come playoff time. Now, he's won one playoff series since that finals 2014 against LeBron and the Heat. He's won one. Now, what, Skip, if I'm not mistaken, aren't we in 2021?